Yeah. I mean, yeah, in dating, be nice. It really is. I think a lot of time going along with things to avoid conflict. But yeah, being kind is about being honest, even if it's uncomfortable. And I think that can be a kind of tricky one in dating, isn't it? Being honest with ourselves and honest to the other
Hmm.
person. Speaking up when something feels wrong. But I think knowing that you deserve kindness in return, you shouldn't have to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's expectations. Now, I think, as you know, I've been working really hard on setting my standards and boundaries and, being honest. But I think I took it a step too far recently. Um,
You
I,
tell.
yeah, I had a couple of dates with this very, very lovely man, great guy. And I think before, I just had it in my head. So before I even, made an effort to probably get to know him, I was like, right, this is how I'm going to handle it. I'm going to set my boundaries, you know. But I think I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt, I think. So I learnt my lesson there. Good for me, pat on the back for, asserting my boundaries and standards, but I don't think I delivered them in the best of ways.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think it was coming out of a place of fear
Hmm.
rather than, yeah. So I will just add that in. That's something I've learned.
And you do, look, that what you've just said there is not even an easy thing to even acknowledge, never mind
Mhm.
speak up about, because often a lot of the times we're so busy looking for red flags or looking for what can go wrong, or we have a subconscious expectation that something is
Mhm.
going to go wrong. So we go
Yeah.
looking for it, that actually we don't look at ourselves and
Yes.
we lose the awareness of how we're showing up because we're so
Mhm.
fixated on how someone else is showing up.
Yeah.
And just touching on that as well, you're to be congratulated for you because obviously we've spoken about this
Yeah.
already, and we've gone our back and forth, had our back and forth conversation about it, and it's one thing to raise awareness, but it's another thing to actually step back and be willing to look at yourself,
Yeah.
and then be willing to correct it or
Yeah.
do better,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, or take the action with it, which a lot of people don't do. They have the awareness piece, but they don't take the final step that gets them the
Mm.
results, which is the action piece. Now you took the action, and I will just won't go into detail, but you're in a very good place now with this situation. um, but it's just a thing of saying, like, there is a difference between boundaries and
Yeah.
walls.
Yes. Yes.
Boundaries, let in what you do want and keep out what you don't, and
Yes.
walls keep out everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and so there is a difference.
Mhm.
And it's also important, ladies, for us to understand that we too have some red flags, like
Yeah.
we're not immune to them. And we don't know these things until we have these situations. And this is why we say dating is an exploration of self more so than anything.
Yeah.
Um, for us to be able to go, wow, actually, I didn't know that about myself. I didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah.
So
You kind of
well
have to
done,
leave your
Joanna.
ego. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
You kind of do have to leave your ego at the door. You really
Yeah.
do. Yeah. To admit and then when you go back and admit that you've done wrong, you're making yourself vulnerable ultimately, aren't you? So yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big thing to do. Um,